Welcome back, our dear viewers, with our first lovely guest for today. Like New Year is starting, 2026, and a lot of you having different goals that you would like to achieve this year. And for that, I have someone who's very special. I know him personally. I know her like personally, and she has a lot of great things that she accomplished. So she's gonna give you some great tips. So don't miss this segment. Our guest for today is Faten Osseili, Leadership Communication and Transformation with over 2 decades of experience across Kuwait and the United States. She's a corporate trainer, executive coach and public speaker, shaping leaders, not just skills. Faten specializes in organizational development, strategic communication and human potential, bridging performance with purpose. Please welcome with me the very special guest for today, Faten Osseili. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here, likewise.
And as you know, like Faten, today, like with 2026, a lot of people before that, they were having like a list.
Yes.
They were having some goals, what do they call, like a goals resolution they would like to achieve. And sometimes it become like a trendy topic. So what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this day. And honestly, it's great to always have a new start. 2026 is definitely a great year to have new beginnings. However, people usually get caught up in the passion and the trend and the fact that this is a wave, and they just do it because they have to do it, because they think, well, everyone is doing it, why not me?
Exactly.
You know, and they just move on to, you know, join the wave, let's put it that way.
It's become like a trend, you know, like
Exactly.
people like they have a lot of goals, and then as soon as they start, maybe like the first week they are committed, the second week, and then by the second month of the year, they are back to their old habits. As we say in Arabic, عادة حليمة إلى عادة غريمة.
Yes.
So why does that happen, in your opinion?
That's an excellent question. That's predominantly because there's a lack of alignment between the goal and between true identity. People feel that they have to have a goal just because they're channeling their dissatisfaction sometimes with certain aspects in their lives. And we all as humans aren't actually satisfied at one point or the other with one aspect of our lives, or more than that one.
Exactly.
However, to channel that dissatisfaction properly requires a lot of coaching and training to recognize what you want and how you're going to get there. That's exactly the skill that a lot of people lack. And honestly, I consider it like swimming. You don't expect someone to swim just naturally on their own. You need to seek a trainer, you need to seek a coach to actually help you learn how to breathe underwater, learn how to control and regulate your energy underwater, learn the multiple types of swimming, and then you get to say, yes, I'm a swimmer, I can dive in the 20 meter to shallow waters. It's the same thing with setting goals. We think, and a lot of times we confuse wishes as goals. So there's a huge difference between, is it a wish? Is it just a want, or is it a true goal?
That's really beautiful, because you mentioned like a true identity of yourself for achieving the goal. Is alignment with your true identity, or something like being pressured on you by the society? So how can we distinguish between the two?
Excellent question. Pressure will feel like a burden. It will feel like a lot of work. It's predominantly when you look at someone who has to go to a job that they hate. They will feel, oh man, I have to wake up and I have to get dressed and I have to drive the car and I have to find a parking spot. Look at the tasks that he looks at them. He perceives them as a chore. Versus someone who is extremely passionate about what they do. They love what they do. They recognize the struggle, but they're like, oh no, it's okay. I can handle this. They don't, and it becomes part of who they are. So it channels the struggle into passion, and it becomes more consistent. There is less likely to drop in the consistency with who you are. I would say, for example, look at artists. A lot of time artists, when you ask them why do you do what you do, if they are specifically true artists, they just say, I can't give you an explanation.
It's a passion.
It's just a passion. It's just who they are. It's part of their identity. And as a result, whether they get recognition or not, it's not even a part of the equation. Whether someone else understood that particular art or not is not part of the equation. They are allowing their identity to be. And that's exactly where it is. Now the alignment comes in when the fact, with actually recognizing who you are, recognizing your own values.
recognizing your own values, very important for you to decide which road you're going to take and which goals that align with your identity that you can really accomplish with passion and with joy.
Yeah.
And during that path, you know, there are struggles.
Yes.
Sometimes people use motivation,
Yes.
like they listen to motivation speeches, like YouTube things, and sometimes they say discipline. So in this equation, which one is like more powerful?
Oh my gosh. First of all, you have to know thyself. You know yourself.
Know thyself.
Know thyself more than anything else. There's a famous assessment, it's called Know Your Own Chronotype, which basically distinguishes people into 4 different categories for 4 different energy types.
Energy types.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So there you go. Because, for example, there's the lion type, which are basically what we call early risers. Those are the most productive type between 4 a.m. till 7 p.m. And good luck getting them to achieve anything after 7 p.m.
It's like taking a nap.
Exactly. And so they recognize their own energy levels. There is what we call the dolphin, the bear, the wolf, different categories, and they recognize their sleep patterns, their energy patterns. They recognize also their hormonal changes. As a result, they create a system that aligns with what they are, that aligns with their best strengths and qualities. Second, I always do that. It's the Pareto 80-20% effect. Sometimes you can't do everything. You will have this like vision board. I've seen it actually as a common mistake. They have this vision board, and while they're putting that vision board right there, they want to achieve everything at once. And it gets very overwhelming because I'm like, you have well over 12 wishes, not even goals.
And that's realistic, right? Like with the time they have, with the space.
Exactly. And I said, no, let's focus on 2 very achievable, very attainable, that align with who you are, not with who society pressures you to be, or others, or what is expected out of you, but something that will feel effortless. 20% of your goals. Not 80, but it will create the impact over the 80% of your energy, of your consistency, over that satisfaction
over like that productivity as well,
exactly, right? And amazingly, I would say start with the things that feel easy to you. Now, whatever feels easy, that will be different from one person to the other, because some people say the easiest one is the one that most likely to happen. I'm like, great, because you're gonna need that as a fuel to keep going. Others say, no, I need to address this particular thing, and that's where we use the Eisenhower matrix.
Of course, and that like also drove us to one of the important topics, which is like organizing your goals.
Yes.
Based on what? Like based on value, based on productivity, based on what kind of criteria do you personally organize your goals for the year?
Excellent question. Now, we were talking about them, about SMART goals.
Like
the
trend?
Well, it's not a trend, but let's put it this way. With part of the SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, time-bound, and most likely to happen, look at the most achievable ones when it comes to importance, and that aligns with your personal values, because you're going to fuel your continuous motivation, whether it's external or internal motivation. It's going to be fueled based on the results of those. So start with those. Don't start with the most daunting task, because it's scientifically proven. People are more likely to achieve with clarity versus self-criticism.
I love that.
So if the first task you've done it, you know you're not going to perform well at it, that's a lot of self-criticism right there. You're going to less likely to be motivated to do the 3rd one, on the 4th one even, when you are carrying the burden of that self-criticism right there in the back of your shoulder, back of your head, and on your shoulder. So as a result, I'm like, no. Start simple. So that's how you prioritize. First, most likely to happen, most likely to be achieved. Second, most time-bound ones. A lot of people, when they think of time-bound, they think, oh, it's just time. No. Think of short-term, mid-term, long-term, and be realistic. If it's something that I will say, is this a goal that is fit to be a short-term, or are you pressuring it to be a short-term? Because sometimes they turn a long-term goal into a short-term goal, and then they say, oh, it didn't work. I'm like, exactly, because you just thought of placing a time
They
down.
give it like the exact time for it, so it can be
Exactly.
achievable.
Exactly.
It's like rushing the process
There
instead
you
of
go.
taking your time into achieving the thing.
Yeah, and a third thing is to follow your own personal values. Now, values are completely different. There are multiple psychometric analysis that we do in life coaching, and we do in self-empowerment, and we do in corporate training and communication. But the most predominantly known one, I'll say, if you had to choose between the top 3 priorities right now, if you had to drop everything you're doing, and there are 3 priorities right now in your life, what would they be? Is it your family, or maybe like a particular position? Like different people are at different places in their lives, and there's a particular saying that I have. It's a favorite one of mine. A lady said to me, "You can do everything, just not all at once," and I love that. You
Not
can do
all at once.
Exactly, because we tend to make women, specifically women, believe that you can't do it all. You have to choose. You have to choose between having a family and having a career, or studying, or. So they think, oh, we need to resort to the prioritization. And the same thing happens to men, by the way. And I'll say, no. Think of it this way. You can achieve everything, just not all at once. So which one is now the time season for it? Just like there's a time for summer, and there's a time for spring, and there's a time for
Beautiful.
fall.
So spread your goals between like all different seasons,
Exactly.
different times. That really works with the perfect opportunities.
Yes.
Spreading through the year itself.
Yeah.
And that also like brings us to another important point. You know, during the process of achieving your goals, sometimes life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes you are up, sometimes you are down. It's not like always, you know, successful journey.
Oh,
so how can we deal with failure?
Excellent question. I think failure and accepting failure is the most crucial skill out there. And we have to start really early on. One of the things that I really highly encourage parents as a mom and as a mom-to-be, as an expecting mom, I mean, is that allow your kids to join sports not for the competitiveness, but to know what's it like to put in effort and things not working out the way you expected them to work out. It's okay. It's okay to accept that. It's okay to feel defeated. But what is not okay is that you dwell in it for too long. And the best technique is to start with acceptance that it's part of life. That there are sometimes, just like, you know, what we call, there are seeds that will be thrown in your garden, but not every single seed is going to grow. Let them
Very
work.
lovely. I love that.
Let them work on it, on gardening. Let them watch that. You know what? I tried to garden and it didn't work. I tried to go for a specific class and it didn't work. And use humor. Teach them that. Walk them through it, because you're the parent and they're the child. Now, as adults, we grow through life, and of course, we move from being, you know, extremely focused on a particular game to being focused on a particular position, or on a particular life project.
Exactly.
And yes, you have to reflect. That's what I highly encourage. Use
like
daily reflections.
Really like a beautiful thing to take, you know, like having reflection so you can see what you have achieved and what things you can learn from, so you can really have a good time accepting failure and not taking so much hard on yourself. That was really lovely, spreading all the wisdom, the practical tips, and this beautiful tips that you have shared for our dear viewers who would like to achieve a lot in their upcoming 2026. Thank you so much, Coach Faten Osseili, for being with us, Coach of Business and Communication, Coach Manager of Mastermind Management and Consultancy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was really a beautiful pleasure to have you. And now, dear viewers, continuing our segment for today, tragically developing relations focusing on boosting economic ties, trade, investment, especially in energy, tourism, and tech, and cultural exchange, supported by visa, waivers, and direct flights that foster tourism and business building on shared Islamic heritage and mutual respect for sustainable development. Key recent activities include high-level visits, joint economic committees, and signing agreements in energy, health, and aviation to deepen partnerships with Kuwait, seeing Uzbekistan as a key Central Asian hub, and Uzbekistan valuing Kuwait's financial expertise. Let's take a look at this report and then we're going to be back.